Hello, my name is Jordan Hagen. I am the chairman of the Zoning Board of Appeals. Today is Tuesday, December 16th, 2025, and this will be our meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals. Thank you, everyone else, for coming, and happy holidays. The application materials that will be discussed tonight, including any proposed resolutions and other documents, will be available on the city website. Also on the city's website is a link to the rules and procedures of the Zoning Board of Appeals. I'm just going to take a minute to explain the board's procedures. We'll hear each application in the order it's noticed on the agenda. First, we'll hear from the applicant. Then we'll open the floor to any comments of the public. If you wish to speak on an application, please step up to the podium. Please talk into the mic. People tend to not. And state your name and address for the record. All comments should be directed towards the board, not the applicant if you're from the public or the city staff. And yeah, that is what I will do for an introduction. We have some housekeeping to do. We have not approved the minutes since August, so we are going to approve the September minutes first. Has everyone had the chance to review the September 16th minutes, and are there any comments, edits, or any necessary changes? If not, may I have a motion to accept the September 16th, 2025 minutes from the Zoning Board of Appeals meeting?
Motion to accept.
A motion from Montes. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Stowe. All in favor? Aye. Has everyone had the chance to review and take a look at the November 18th, 2025 minutes? And does anybody have any comments, edits, changes on those minutes? And if not, can I have a motion for approval of the November 18th, 2025 Zoning Board of Appeals minutes, please?
Motion. So moved.
Motion by Stowe. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Judy. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great. And then can I have a motion to continue the public hearing on agenda item number 1, please?
Motion to continue the public hearing?
Motion by Judy. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Montos. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. So agenda item number 1 is 68 Wesley Ave, and I believe our applicant is online through Zoom or some other platform similar.
Issues,
Great.
but it's not up there.
Yeah. Can she hear us?
Oh, yeah. Did you want me to?
Yeah, please. Yeah.
Okay.
If you could just.
Yeah. So I think the last meeting you wanted me to look at my plans and see if I could come within the same boundary as the end of the garage, and so I did. I did, and as a result, I did lose about 48 square feet. I lopped off 2 feet of the studio, plus there was a closet that took up about 2.5 feet that went out. So I came in, 4.5 feet, and the plan is fine. I could live with it if I had to, but what I realized, I'd really like that 2 feet in the back if I could go back 2 feet. Instead of having the 4.5 feet, if I could just have the 2 feet, that would. So right before, the square footage was 46 square feet. So with the new plan, it's now 298 square feet, of which about 48 square feet is the bathroom. So that would mean 250 square feet of living space, which is pretty small. So if I had another 2 feet back, that would give me like 23 square feet. And that would be so wonderful. So I'm appealing to you for that 2 feet.
Where would the 2 feet go?
It would go back beyond the garage. So before I went back 4.5 feet, almost 5 feet, and then I came in, I took away all that extra square footage. Part of it was a closet, so I took away the closet, and then I came in 2 square feet just to see what I could do, and then I moved the closet sort of sticking out in the middle. You can see it there, so it would be like a divider between a sleeping area and a sitting area. So the sleeping area is fine, but the sitting area is a little squished. So I realized if I could have another 2 feet, it would be so much more pleasant to be in that space.
So you're reverting back to the original submission, the original plan, is that right?
No, so the original plan went out 4.5 feet. So you can see it went out 2 feet, plus there was another 2.5 feet for a closet.
Right.
So I got rid of all of that, and then I'm showing you the new plan. But, so I could live with this new plan, but I would be so much happier if I had an extra 23 square feet, because I had to lop off 48 square feet.
So have you submitted a plan for what you're asking for?
No, I'm just showing you the plan that I have, and all it would be going back 2 feet from the back edge.
So,
So it would be sort of a combination of the old plan and the new plan.
so one of the concerns that I have, I'm not speaking for the board, I'm just speaking for myself.
Yeah,
One of the
yeah,
concerns that I have is you're taking the line out, you're going further out of compliance. Now you're setting a precedence, we're setting a precedence where we could then take the existing structure out in line with that as well, right? So if you took your new addition out another 2 feet from the plans that were sent to us, the most recent submission, that would go 2 feet out past the existing structure and garage.
exactly.
Now a precedence is set where you could come back to us at some point, or another owner or whoever can come back to us and take those structures out an additional 2 feet, making everything yet further out of compliance. So that's one of the main concerns here with taking an out of compliance further out of compliance.
So you're saying, right now, so what I'm showing you right now, the new plan is not out of compliance, correct?
No, the new plan is out of compliance.
Okay, why is it
But-
the new plan? Why is the new plan out of compliance? Because I was told I didn't have to get a variance for
The
the new plan.
structures that were there were the current zoning requirements. So adding onto it, you have to follow current zoning requirements. And the required is 35 feet.
Yeah,
So you're out of compliance on the new structure. You don't have 35 feet.
So in other words, right, what you currently have
yeah,
is pre-existing non-conforming, but it can stay there in its current form because
Right.
it's against public policy to make everyone change all their old buildings into new code. But what you're doing is you're changing what you have. So by doing that, you now do need to follow code. So even if you take it down and rebuild it in the same footprint, you still have to come to us to rebuild because where you're built currently is
Yeah.
not in the 35-foot setback. It's setback 10.3 feet. But you're asking us for even more than 10.3 feet, which is we're kind of being circular. So
so I'm just confused because I was told before this meeting that I wouldn't need a variance for this new plan, but now you're saying I do need a variance.
Who told you you don't need a variance for the new plan? That's,
My office did. If the addition does not encroach any closer to the property line than the existing, it would not be here for a variance. It's not enlarging the nonconformity.
But that's not, no, she still has to come before the zoning board of appeals because it's out of compliance. We just have to
No,
Except the fact,
no, that's not the case.
Brian, as the building inspector, is the arbiter of this. As different municipalities view it differently, but there's no steadfast rule on this in the law.
but that's the
It's-
way we've been doing it at the zoning board since I've been here.
Sure,
Years.
but so a different building inspector can have a different interpretation. So,
As long as it's consistently applied by said building inspector. So essentially, the question is this increasing the nonconformity? And if you take it from the position that it's already 10.3 feet for the existing house, this is still 10.3 feet, the determination essentially by Brian is that it's not increasing the nonconformity.
going closer
Because
to
that,
the house.
yes, because it's not going closer to that property line than.
Well,
what
And
they're
and that's where
proposing.
we're asking the applicant to get to.
Yeah,
Well,
that scenario is the applicant's current drawing that they submitted for this meeting, right?
Actually, the existing house and most of the existing garage is not non-conforming because the lot has a bump out.
Correct.
And behind the majority, it's just the one corner of the garage
Mhm.
that's in the 10.3. The rest of the garage and the whole house is within the 35-foot setback.
Yeah, it's 30.
So this, I mean, it does look to be a new non-compliance because it's an entirely, it's a new structure added on to the garage.
Yeah, I mean, it's,
But hold on a second, but the applicant is saying it's not this drawing she wants us to vote on.
Right.
well, that's a whole separate issue. We're gonna
Right.
need clarity on what we're considering and what it is in front of the board. But the drawing that was submitted for this meeting, where it's in line with the
Right.
building, Brian has made that determination that would not require variance, correct?
Correct.
So
The-
then we don't have to vote on
What
that.
was submitted,
Why is it before the zoning board if
Because
it's,
she
Well,
wants more.
Because
Well,
my
for-
understanding is, and Ms. Stim, please clarify, that the drawing was submitted as an alternative or as an example rather than the request.
Exactly, yeah,
There you go.
yeah.
But we don't have a drawing of what's being asked.
or is it what was submitted last month?
That's up to the applicant to determine. It sounded to me like it's somewhere in between. It's what was submitted last month minus the
Minus the closet.
which is not on a drawing.
It's not on this drawing, but it's on the old drawing.
The old drawing minus the
Yeah.
closet, yes.
yeah, but we don't actually have a drawing of what is,
No,
Being
it would be a
hy-
conceptual old drawing minus the
hypothesized.
closet, yeah.
So I guess you just have to imagine going out 2 feet, that's all.
She wants to take this section right here
Yeah,
out
but-
off.
yeah, we don't
Can I
usually
ask a
work by
question? Can I-
imagining
That's-
things.
I'd like to
The
ask a
2-4.
question.
Right, so my concern is this precedence here.
Yeah.
Why can't you go further, where can't you go beyond where the bath is? Why can't
Yes.
you bring that forward and get more square footage that way?
So, yeah, you're absolutely correct. That is an option. I could do that. So the bathroom, you can see is narrower. So I would have to, so I wouldn't have that kind of, I guess it wouldn't be like taking a room and expanding it, because it would sort of get narrower in that one spot, so it's not. You can imagine when you see the bathroom, if I was going to push the bathroom down and then, I don't know, it just would be strange, a strange configuration, that's all.
I just remember Montos
Yeah.
had said last week that you could
Yeah.
put the closet before the
Right.
bath,
Right, you
Yes.
pass through the closet.
and you could pass through the closet, and it's, I'll tell you what, it's the way a lot of new homes are built right now.
Right, so
But I-
that would, but as I mentioned, that would sort of defeat the purpose, because if you're passing through the closet, you need to have at least 2.5 feet, so you're using up 2.5 feet of that space. So that wouldn't really be a good solution.
Did you
As a
ever,
design, yeah.
have you ever considered going into the garage in any way?
Oh, yes, but we couldn't, because originally that's exactly what we were thinking about, but there's, the dampness is a factor in there, and we'd have to totally configure the top of the garage, that roof deck would have to be configured, and it would be so expensive, yeah.
I think it might be helpful to the board, Ms. Stim, if you
Yes.
can sort of explain, and I know we touched on it last month, but what exactly the benefit you seek is. And I understand the benefit being sought is having a studio apartment, and we discussed that, but for example, you know, if it's the case, hypothetically speaking, I'm not saying this is what you said, but if you were to say the studio is not really feasible aligned with the garage for X reason, what is that X reason? And it could be something as, I need a closet space, or it's important, you know, if I don't do that, the closet won't be able to, the doors won't close because it's only 1 foot deep or whatever. But I think the board may benefit from having a rationale as to what specifically you seek beyond just having a studio apartment, whether it's certain square footage for a certain reason. Just if you can expand on that.
Yeah, I guess it's when I redid this drawing, I put the closet coming out, I was dividing the sleeping area. So the sleeping area, if you get a bed against the wall, you have 1 foot on one side, and then you have 2 feet on the other. That's it. So, so that's the sleeping area, and then the other side would be more like the living area. So that would be where a couch might be. So that area is really squished in there. It's looks like it's like 2, 4, 6, maybe 7 feet wide. So it's pretty narrow, and if I had 2 more feet, I would feel so much more comfortable, because I really like to feel good in a space where I am, and I feel so much better if it was just 2 more feet. So that's basically the reason I'm really, I just like to feel good in the space that I'm in, and I just think it wouldn't feel so crushed in there. Yeah,
does she
because it'd
need
be
to-
2 of us at some.
Does she need to put in another drawing, and we need to meet again?
Well, listen,
Because we can't do it off of this.
if
No,
if the proposal is the current drawing, no. If the proposal is the drawing from last month, we've seen that. I don't know if anyone has it. I can connect to the
But she says it's slightly different.
yeah, if it's somewhere in between, if the board would like to see that as a drawing, that's up to the board, but the board can also condition any approval, if there was an approval, on it being, you know, the drawing minus, you frame it in a way, you craft it in a way where the condition is, it's last month's drawing minus the closet, so that it protrudes only X feet, or whatever the case may be. If the board says...
That is out of compliance.
Yeah, and that would be a variance being granted for it. And it would be there wouldn't be a notice issue. I know we've had that come up in the past, because it would be less egregious. It would be further away from the property line than what was proposed. But again, it's up to the board. If the board wants to see it as a drawing, or if they would like me to pull it up on the screen to be able to see last month's drawings, I can do that.
So the ask is to allow for an 8.5-foot rear yard setback now? Is that the ask?
We don't know.
That's up to the applicant.
So to the applicant, is that the ask, to allow for an 8.5 rear yard setback?
So right now, is it 10 and a half feet?
Right now,
if
as you
it's-
had it last month,
Yeah,
it was I believe a 5.5 foot, it was a 5.5 foot setback from the property line,
okay, so now we're 8 feet. So it's an 8 feet now,
because you're removing about,
the 2.5 feet.
2.5 feet from the closet.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So it would be like 7 point
No, 8.
No, it would be, yeah, 8. So she-
It would be 8 feet, yeah.
So it was 5.5, it was 5.5 last month, and now she's reducing that by 2.5, so.
Well, it's got to be a little bit less. like
Or
this-
increase.
It's actually 2 feet 4.5 inches, but you could call it, 2.5 feet to
Because
make
that
it
sounds-
8.
2.5 feet sounds to be inner measurements to me, right? Not exterior,
No.
point-to-point
Yeah, all right.
measurements.
I don't know.
And
I
it
think we
depends
need
on
another
which
drawing.
side of the addition, because this is at a slight angle.
It's the back,
And
yeah.
It
Yeah.
would be more, and here it would be off the 10.3.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 10.3 at the point they draw it here in the thing, but since it's angled peculiarly, on one end, it would be less than that, and on the other end, it'd be more.
No.
Right? Because this is not straight, this is not a straight line relative to the
No, it's 10.3.
new building,
That would be
right?
the
Yeah, it's a
These
little
are not
slant.
parallel
greatest
lines.
amount
Right.
of variance.
It's actually, it is actually, if you looked at it, it's straight. Yeah, back there.
It's not like that.
It's hard to hit a moving target.
No, we'll just go. We could also do a motion, just do 2 how fast these.
Right, okay. All right. Can I have a motion to close the public hearing on agenda item number 1?
Motion to close?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Monto, second by Elaine, sorry. All in favor? Aye. All right. So we went through the factors last month. Does anyone have any feelings about any of the factors? And I can read them if anyone needs any recollection reflecting that they would like to comment on regarding the change. So last month we were reviewing factors that reflected a requested 5.5 foot setback, which would have been last month it was 5 feet 6 inch rear yard setback, where 35 feet is required. So now the applicant's requesting an 8 foot plus, ish setback. So she's reducing the request from 35 feet to 33 feet ish. So I guess really where we got hung up last month was it the minimum variance necessary and adequate to preserve and protect the character of the neighborhood, health, safety, and welfare of the community? So do we think the new variance request, which we'll call, again, 33 feet, right? What are we saying, George?
Quick math on this. I'm not the arbiter of this, so, but the quick math would be if it's 35 required, it was a 29.5 foot variance. Now it'd be a 27 foot variance for the 8 feet, 27 plus 8, 35.
Yes. So
Sound about right?
So the question will be, and to discuss is, do we feel that is the minimum variance necessary? Has she improved?
And the minimum, remember, the minimum variance necessary to grant the benefit that the applicant seeks, right? Because if it's not the benefit the applicant seeks, there's always going to be something less. So is it the minimum variance? And I think it may be, if the board is considering this, I think it would be good practice, even though there was a discussion last month, to go through those factors and get that discussion going again, only because it is technically a different, slightly different application, right? And you may feel different about a factor. And I, quite frankly, don't even remember the discussion verbatim, so it might be a good opportunity to discuss
I
again.
just think we need a new drawing. I don't think we could do it. I don't think it's fair to the other inhabitants of the city that we do something without knowing what we're doing.
And I don't think it's been
And
clearly.
it's different from the last time. So were you planning on breaking ground right away? Or waiting till it gets a little warmer?
Oh, I definitely have to wait till it gets warmer, yeah.
So I think we should get a drawing.
I don't think we still have a great determination of what the benefit is that she seeks. Because among other things, we don't have a diagram.
Because we need a diagram.
So, if in fact we're supposed to be saying, can she achieve her benefit with something other than the hypothetical diagram that we haven't seen, or this one that we have seen, how substantive is it? I mean, you're talking about a few square feet. I would like to know exactly what, and do we have an objective measure of like what size a studio apartment should be in order to be livable? I don't know.
I'm okay, speaking just for myself, I'm okay without a new drawing And if I were to propose this, the way I would motion this is that the new structure cannot exceed more than 2 feet past the line of the existing structure. I wouldn't look at it from calculating the exact, is it 8.0 feet that we're allowing? Or I would condition this that no more than 2 feet past the existing structure line. That's how I would go about this.
Is it 2 or 2.5?
It would
I heard-
actually be 3 feet, I believe, past the existing structure, because
So can we have the applicant tell us, what are you asking for past the existing structure
2
line for the record?
Just 2 feet, 2 feet.
So she's asking for 2 feet past, now that's not interior measurements, that's exterior measurements.
Right.
So she's asking for 2 feet past the existing structure line.
Right.
So if I were to propose this as a motion, I would propose it no more than 2 feet past.
But is that actually what she's asking for?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm asking for. Thank you.
yeah.
Yeah.
George?
Look, I am just the attorney here, right? I am not the building inspector, I am not an engineer. I'm looking at the plans from last month, and I see a line from the outside of the garage to the outside of the closet saying 5 feet, 4.5 inches. I see I see the line for the closet saying 2 feet, 4.5 inches. So to me, that sounds like it's 3 feet. If you subtract the closet, you have 3 feet past the garage. I'm not an engineer, I'm not an architect.
Do you want to consult with your architect before you give us your firm requirement on this, ma'am?
No, because I actually talked to him about that, and he actually thought it was a good idea to expand it to 2 feet. He felt that this really didn't meet my needs, and the extra 2 feet would be really helpful. So he was fine about the 2 feet.
Yeah, I don't want to, I'm sorry to harp on this, but
Yeah,
2
go
feet
ahead.
exterior measurements.
Yeah.
Not interior measurements.
Right.
Because external walls could be anywhere from 6 inches thick, you realize that.
I totally understand that. Right.
I think we need a new diagram.
I'm just curious why, because of, you're just going out 2 more feet, that's all.
I mean, if we grant the variance for 2 more feet, she can't go out more than 2 more feet.
And I won't go out more than 2 feet, I can guarantee it.
Otherwise, they'll make you take it down.
And
Yeah.
I think, I'm thinking out loud here, because I admittedly was not prepared for an option C tonight, but I think probably the way, we would have to grant the variance for a certain setback, right? So it would be the 35 feet minus 8, I believe, right? So it would be 27?
26.7.
26.7, there you go. 26.7 foot. That's the relief from the property line, done. That's the variance we're granting. And then the condition could be that it is, as Montos had suggested, the drawing dated X minus the closet, so as to not extend beyond the existing garage more than 2 feet.
Yes.
I'm thinking out loud here. Maybe it's wordsmithing. You know, the board, please feel free to chime in on this, but
It sounds like, from what she's saying, it's not merely a matter of that she's lopping off the closet. It's a completely different.
it sounds
it's
like she's
just
also
2
taking
feet.
off some space from, yeah.
Because the 2 feet, just to help the rest of my colleagues on the board, I think you hit the nail on the head here, the 2 feet extends the whole width of the structure. It's not just the protruding
Right. It's-
3-foot part that was on the original drawing.
It's 2 feet times
It's
11.
2 feet extension on the
So it's
whole
22
line.
square feet.
Yes,
Approximately,
exactly.
yeah. Well,
Yeah, well, give me an extra 23 square feet. So as I mentioned before, I lopped off 48 square feet. And so this would give me 23 square feet. Yeah.
Less, because that's exterior.
So, right, so, I mean, I don't want to make anybody on the board vote unless they have the materials they feel they need to vote, right? So, I will either take a motion on a variance, or I will take a motion to adjourn until we can get additional materials. Or any motion anybody wants to make, really.
I'll make a motion to grant not extending more than 2 feet from the existing structural line, taking the 35 feet required down to 26.7 feet.
That was correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
I second.
All right. So we have and conditions, Montos?
He mentioned the 2
I
feet.
mentioned the 2 feet already. Those are the conditions, yep.
Great, all right. So we have a motion by Montos, we have a second by Elaine.
Are we gonna, do you guys want to go through the factors just for the record? Because it is a slightly different application, so.
The only one was, what we hit on was was this the minimum amount?
Right.
So I think that's really the only resolution that we have to deal with.
Yeah.
So is it the minimum amount? Yeah, it is. So before we were trying to get it a little bit less.
So it will be the same considerations for the
the
variance
yeah.
factors that had already been done on the record last month, except now we are changing our position on the minimum necessary.
I'm not changing my position on minimum. She even said herself she could do with the new plans if she had to. She prefers not to. So that, to me, by nature, says there is a further minimum. So my position on minimum doesn't change.
But you,
There is further minimum, but I appreciate the fact that the applicant is working with us and took off the 3 feet and didn't go as severe as she was asking originally.
so that factor is required. We can only grant the minimum variance necessary. So it's not really.
For the benefit the applicant seeks,
Yeah,
yeah.
so it's not, that is not a factor so much as it's a
Yeah,
requirement.
so I still don't think it's the minimum required, given the fact that she gave us an application that she said she could deal with if she had to.
And that's my quandary, which is, I don't really understand the benefit she seeks, given that it's only a few square feet, but obviously, I'll take the fundamental notion, if you make it too small, it's unlivable. If you want to make it more
200
livable, you want it to make it bigger, and so there is a,
250 square feet is the size of a one-car garage.
right,
That's what it
I
is.
appreciate it. So there's this tension between the benefit and the minimum question.
I think it is the minimum that she can really live with, because she's seeing this and she's saying, how's this gonna work? So, where are you gonna put the closet? You're still gonna leave the closet like,
Oh, so do you see it in the drawing? I jutted it out, so it's like a divider between the
Yeah,
two spaces.
got that.
So I was really pleased with that solution, because I can also use the back of the closet. I mean, it's really going to be like a tiny house, so it's going to have a table that's going to be flat against the back of that closet. That's
All
going
right,
to
Open up.
you've convinced me, I can go with this being the minimum.
yeah.
So my motion still stands.
All right, so
for approval.
So we have a motion, we have a second, so now I'm going to call the roll. Elaine,
Yes.
Montos.
Yes.
Judy,
Yes.
Stowe,
Yes.
and I am a yes. Congratulations.
Oh, wait, so the condition, just so Ms. Stim understands, right? It was Montos, you said not to exceed 2 feet, more than 2 feet beyond the existing garage,
Correct.
correct? There's also the typical conditions, Ms. Stim, that are, obviously you have to pay, we may have gone through it last month, but you have to pay all application fees and consultant fees. And you have 6 months from the date of adoption, so 6 months from today, to obtain a building permit. You have 6 months to commence construction following the date of issuance of the building permit. And you have to complete construction and obtain a certificate of occupancy within 24 months after the date of issuance of said building permit. So do you understand those conditions?
Absolutely, yep,
And you are okay with
Yeah.
them? In
Yeah.
addition to the one that Montos had mentioned?
yes, absolutely. I really appreciate your thoughtfulness that went into all this. And I'll invite you all over for tea when it's done, so you can see what it's like.
Thank you, happy holidays.
Okay, thanks so much, thank you.
Okay, can I have a motion to open the public hearing on agenda item number 2?
So moved.
Motion by Judy, can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Stowe, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hello, I'm Sarah Wolf. This is my husband, Kevin Wolf, and we are applying for 3 variances to renovate our home on Lafayette Avenue. We live at 44 Lafayette for the record. The house itself was a one-story that had a finished basement, which was damaged in the flood a few years ago. And in looking at trying to renovate it and upgrade the 60s and 70s appliances and fixtures and all of that, we're trying to figure out how to make the most of the house without really pushing it too far in any direction, up or out, because it is a very small plot and we're close to neighbors and we aren't trying to infringe on, their space either. And so this has been the plan that we've come up with the architect to try and make the most while creating the minimum infringement on each side.
So I think, just for the board's edification, so we have a few different materials. We have the smaller survey, right, shows what is. The plans on the first page, right, show the black, what would be the addition, right, which is what's causing the need for the variances, right? So we have a rear yard, so similar-ish to what we were just dealing with, where there's a required, in this zone, 25-foot setback from the rear. They're asking for a 17.25. Also, there is a 10-foot from the side, and they're requesting 7.25 setback. And then one that we see from time to time but don't see all the time is the building coverage. So 30% is the maximum building coverage, and they're asking for 31.94. So just to clarify, that's a 1.94% variance, is that correct?
Correct. That's a 1.94% variance. The other thing I want to just state, for the board's clarification, because I admittedly didn't notice it at first, the side yard setback is actually, if you look at the plan, there's also a little addition on the side of the house there. I don't know if you see that little bump out, correct, yeah.
I see.
So this, I don't know what it is, the applicant can speak to it.
We have a small bedroom there. That's a very, very small bedroom. That's our son's bedroom. And so we want to push the wall out to under the eaves, so we're not extending the roof line in any way, but we gain 2 feet, which very much changes what that room can be. It can have an actual full-size bed and a desk. Right now, it's a sort of cramped twin bed and a desk, and that's it. There's not much space. So just to make it a functional bedroom without extending the entire building that side, since it's already a small setback.
So, George, are we missing a variance on the agenda?
Let me see.
I believe that was the 7.25 setback you
the
mentioned is for
7.25.
that section.
But
Correct.
the
The 10.75 on the back, are you saying?
no, the addition goes into the side yard setback on the other side, does it not?
The addition goes into. Oh, the steps you're saying on the right side of the house?
No, well, yes, but the addition on this drawing, right? My question is, does this not go into the side yard setback on the?
Where it says deck, where it's pointing to deck? Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
The addition in the back is taking the place of what's currently an enclosed porch that's on the upstairs and the downstairs. The addition will go about 2.5 feet further back than the current porch goes. So it is a slightly smaller setback than we currently have to the porch that's existing, but it's not extending further to the side yard on that side than the current porch that exists.
right, so is there no need for a variance there because the interpretation is that a variance is not required if it is in?
If it's the
if it's the same, in the same footprint that was previously there. Well, I'm just clarifying if that
Yeah.
is what is being determined.
Well, again, Brian is the arbiter of that. I will say that, I guess my question is, on that shaded part that says deck, you see how on the drawing there's a black box and then you have that sort of hashed area?
Yes.
Is that hashed area part of the addition, or is that just?
That is already existing.
That already exists?
Yes.
Okay. So I think that is, I don't know, Brian, is that?
It's existing.
Yeah, so that's why there's no variance required
Correct.
there? Because it's existing, and also if it's 2 feet, the addition itself is, if it's 8.25 feet from the property line to that existing portion, and that addition is 2 feet further in, that's beyond the 10 feet of the setback, I would understand. So that's why there's nothing on that right side there. Because the
Okay.
addition itself is outside of the setback on that right side. But on the other side, the addition is within the setback, where you have that little bump out, the 7.25 feet.
Okay. I was doing math in my head when you were explaining what was going on the other side. Could you just explain that again? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Which
and
side?
On the deck side.
On the, no,
On the small bump out?
yes.
Yes, so that is currently a very small bedroom that is very, very small, and we want to extend it 2 feet, which would be to under the eaves that currently exist, so we would not be extending the roof line there to make that bedroom just a more functional space, so like a full-size bed could fit, and a desk and a dresser. And we don't want to push the entire house larger on that side. We don't feel we need that additional space, so we were trying to keep it as conservative as possible, and that's why it's a bump out, not the full wall of the house.
And if you actually, for the board's edification, if you look at sheet drawing number A2, there's the drawing 2, proposed first floor plan right there. That's a good depiction of what it is. There's like a desk along that wall right now, or in that drawing, right? So the applicant is
Yeah.
proposing to push that out a little bit.
Great. And what are your functional plans for the rear?
The rear, we're going to extend the bedroom that we have, that's the master bedroom, the primary bedroom for the house. It currently has a lovely 60s half bath as the master bathroom and a very small closet. And so we're going to extend it to a little bit beyond what the current porch size is to allow for us to have a full bathroom in that primary bedroom and a larger closet and maybe even a chair next to the bed. Very exciting. And then on the other side of that central wall, on the right side of the house, it will extend the kitchen, and again, just allow us to have a more modern kitchen set up there.
Only 4 burners?
I mean, we would take 10, but then we'd need another 10 feet, and that would be excessive.
There you go. All right.
What portion of this plan is what's pushing it over the allowable lot coverage, most likely? The rear addition or the bump out?
The bump out, I think the square footage per my denial letter was 90-something square feet. 97, and the bump out is 2 foot, you said?
On the left side of the house,
Yes.
it'll be 2 feet, I believe 2 feet by 10 feet, I
So
believe.
that's only 20, so it's the rear addition also is throwing it over the lot coverage. So you could say either just the rear addition, some of it, or the bump out and some of the rear addition. You know, it's 97 square feet is what they are over, which comes out to 1.94. We did the percent because it's a 30% lot coverage. It doesn't say X square footage, you know, so we did both, the square footage and the percentage.
And
But
when
the
we
square
look-
footage is not really the variance that they're seeking.
And when we looked at which direction to try and gain space, out on the backside there, that doesn't impede anyone's views, and it's not right by anyone's living space, as opposed to trying to bump out on like the right side of the house. And so it basically backs up that plot to unbuildable land that our neighbor owns, that's boulders and granite. And so we felt that might be the least obstructive place to extend.
waiting for Elaine to come up with digest more information. Anyone else have any questions? Elaine, are you good? Maybe? You good? I just was waiting.
I'm just wrestling with the map.
Okay.
It's
All right.
okay.
They're really big.
We had one email in from a member of the public, the neighbor 40 Lafayette. So this is Marley Stevenson. She sent an email on Monday, yesterday. I'm a neighboring property owner to the applicant requesting a variance for relief, and she states the section, to allow for construction of the addition to the rear and side of the existing structures. I would like to express that I have no objections to the proposed variance and am fully supportive of the applicants moving forward with their plans, and says we can contact her if we have any questions. I see no one else in the courtroom today. Can I have a motion to close the public hearing on agenda item number 2?
So moved.
We have a motion by Stout. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Montos. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. So now we will go through our test.
And sorry to cut you off. Remember, we're considering all 3 variances, right?
Yes.
So,
Right. So, how do you think we should run it?
it's honestly up to the board. I think this is, I think this can all be considered at once because it's sort of one project, unless the board sees a situation where the bump out in that side yard should be considered separately, because it theoretically could be granted without the other ones. But I think it would be appropriate if the board wanted to consider all 3 at the same
I do
time.
have more problems with one of the variances than the other 2.
So you know what? We can
break it out then.
We can break it down, and we could even go one by one. If you,
Elaine, is it the lot coverage?
Yes.
All right. So then let's take the setbacks by feet together.
Well, if we approve the setbacks, then the lot coverage becomes moot, doesn't it?
So
No.
why don't we take
No?
They
If we approve the back setback and the side setback, you've just approved the lot coverage.
no. It's a separate test. So we can approve the first 2 and not the third, and they can't do it.
Okay.
that actually happened on an application once, if you recall.
I do.
Yeah.
We can do the lot coverage first, though.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
It seems, whatever floats your boat.
So we'll consider lot coverage first, just because there may be more discussion on that possibly. So as to whether an undesirable, this is regarding, there is 30% lot coverage maximum allowed, and they're asking for 31.94, so that's a variance of 1.94%, which is 97 feet? 97 square feet. All right. So as to whether an undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties will be created by the granting of that area variance.
Well, I think the small measure is an important consideration. It's relatively minor.
I agree, that's what I thought. It seems like it doesn't seem like a very big ask.
Yeah, I agree with that as well, especially knowing the surrounding, like behind where the Sablinski property is, that's basically woods and blocks and rocks and the golf course. So I think it's a minor ask, not a concern of mine.
I don't think it's a large numerically. I think it could be a precedent I wouldn't want to be seen set on small lots. Of course, you're going to have small numbers on small lots. It also affects the water drainage on the lot, the amount of impermeable surface on the lot. There's a reason they have a maximum amount of lot coverage. I would think it would be easy enough to take some off the back, and again, since this is an insignificant amount, You wouldn't have to take a significant amount across the back, not to go over the allotted lot coverage.
Okay, anybody
Okay.
else?
I think that's a relevant point of view.
Absolutely.
As to whether the benefit the applicant seeks can be achieved through another method feasible for the applicant to pursue that does not require this area variance.
Yes, chop a few
Yes.
feet off the back.
I suppose it always turns on what is the benefit the applicant seeks, right?
Right.
And I think what the applicant is seeking is, we have to consider that, what the applicant is seeking, what they're trying to do, and what the benefit is to them. And I think it's such a small, insignificant amount of space that, no, I think that this is the minimum that they can do.
That's kind of my point. It's such a small, insignificant amount, apparently.
They're already dealing with a small lot in a small house, and they're just trying to, get it
Which is why I would
normal.
approve the other variances, but you could take a sink out of the master bathroom and maybe half a closet out of the kitchen and pull it back just a little
And what would the
bit.
benefit to the community be for that? There's
The
more
lot
benefit to the
coverage would be
person than it would be to
maintained
the
as it
community.
was zoned.
Could I mention something?
Sure.
Sorry, okay. So they're in an R175,
Yeah.
which is 7,500, which is 30% lot coverage. If they were in an R15, which would be 5,000, which they are, it's a 40% lot coverage, so they would not have needed to seek the variance. So they're on an undersized lot in their zone, but if they were in an R15, they would not have to seek, we grant 40% lot coverage in an R15, just to let you know.
But it's proportion-wise.
Yeah.
I
It's not unusual in the town for people to try to sell off a lot. They've got a double lot, they try to sell off a lot to make some money. People build because it's hard to build, hard to, afford anything. Yeah, we get it.
As to whether the requested variance is substantial.
I don't think it is.
I don't either.
No.
Okay. As to whether the proposed variance will have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district.
No.
No.
Yes.
Can we give some reasoning behind our yeses and nos, please?
Well, I think it's going to be a house that is a very tiny house that is now going to be upgraded, and it's going to be a benefit, I think, to the aesthetics of the neighborhood as opposed to it being a detriment.
And considering that the back where the addition is being built is a covered porch now, it's not really going to change the environmental impacts dramatically.
It's going to go out further and not be permeable.
And as to whether the alleged difficulty is self-created.
Yes.
Yes.
They almost always are.
Can't get away from that one.
As to whether the requested variance is the minimum variance necessary and adequate to preserve and protect the character of the neighborhood and the health, safety, and welfare of the community.
No.
I believe it is. I think it's almost the same question, isn't it?
It all depends on how you frame the answer.
I agree with Judy. I think it is the minimum. Anything less on the addition is not going to make that addition
Exactly.
reasonable for what the applicant is looking to achieve.
I agree with Montes.
I think I was compelled to believe that it is, based on how it was articulated, that they looked into different things and attempted to put this in a position that would be the least disruptive to their neighbors. And I think that is a lot of what we hope people do when they come before us. I hear what Elaine is saying. And I, at a greater scale, could understand why an application could turn on environmental concerns, but I don't think in this particular case it does for me, for whatever that's worth. So, could I have a motion on variance letter C, which is the lot coverage variance, please?
Motion to approve?
Second?
All right. With the normal conditions? Any
With the
addition?
normal
Yes.
conditions.
All right.
given.
So, George, can you just reread?
Yes,
Yep.
yes. Obviously, no permit or certificate of occupancy shall be issued until the applicant has paid in full all application and consultant fees incurred by the city in connection with review of the application. Good with that? And the variance is void if the applicant fails to obtain a building permit within 6 months from the date of adoption, so from tonight, commence construction within 6 months following the date of issuance of the building permit, or complete construction and obtain a certificate of occupancy within 24 months after the date of issuance of said building permit. All good with those? Okay.
All right. So, I have a motion by Montos, I have a second by Judy, and then I will call the roll. Stowe?
Yes.
Judy?
Yes.
Montos?
Yes.
Elaine?
No.
And I am a yes. So variance C passes 4-1. And then we'll consider A and B together, I suppose. So we're going to go through the factors again, and hopefully we can have more than yeses and nos, please. So these again are a setback of 25 feet where they're requesting a 17.25-foot rear yard setback and a 10-foot side yard setback where they're requesting a 7.25-foot side yard setback. And so we're asking as to whether an undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties will be created by the granting of these area variances.
I think considering the side yard build-out is under the eaves, and the addition in the back is really just taking the place of the covered deck, that it is not going to have an adverse effect.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
I agree with that as well.
I don't think it would cause a detriment.
Well, sorry, Elaine?
I don't believe it would cause a detriment.
Great. All right. As to whether the benefit the applicant seeks can be achieved through another method feasible for the applicant to pursue, which does not require the area variances.
I don't think so, no.
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 Maybe a slightly smaller one, but they'd still need a variance.
Yeah. As to whether the requested variances are substantial.
No.
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 I think if you'd do some math, you could maybe say yes, but well, in the grand scheme of things, no. As to whether the proposed variance will have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district.
No.
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 And I can say, I repeat it, for these two things, the things that I said, that it wouldn't have a detriment on the record for the letter C.
Yeah, I think it'll be an improvement to the aesthetic. As to whether the alleged difficulty is self-created,
Yes.
Yes.
yeah. And as to whether this is the minimum variances necessary and adequate to preserve and protect the character of the neighborhood and the health, safety, and welfare of the community.
Yes.
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 Give or take a few inches.
What?
You could elaborate.
I could elaborate, but I think they've done a good job of minimizing it based on what I said before on the other variants, and putting it in the right place.
Right, I agree.
Okay. So these will have the same conditions as the other that has already been granted, should it be approved. Can I have a motion?
Can I vote on the last variance?
We already did that.
No, we're doing the last two together.
Oh, but I didn't vote on the last.
Yeah, you did. You
You
voted
just
no.
went through and
No,
went.
she's saying the factors.
The fact.
On the minimum?
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. Thank you. Yes.
Where were we?
Could I have a motion?
On what?
Motion to approve.
Any motion?
Are you motioning to approve?
No, I'm just answering the question.
Motion to approve the
Second.
The variances
A and
as-
B
Okay.
Second.
With the normal conditions?
with the normal conditions.
Great. We have a motion by Judy, we have a second by Montos, and I will call the roll. Elaine,
Yes.
on both, yes. We're voting on both. Montos.
Yes.
Judy.
Yes.
Stowe.
Yes.
I am also a yes. Thank you. Can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Montos, second by
Second.
Judy. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Our next meeting is when?
2026.
2020.
But it's probably a
2028
Wednesday
yet, though.
because of Martin Luther King Day, so I want to get that on.
Oh, let's see.
2026.
Sorry.
There are no denial letters out there right now.
Well, there's
January 21st.
you just jinxed.
January 21st.
January meetings are going to be on a Wednesday, so it's Wednesday, January 21st.
All right, so the next meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals is Wednesday, January 21st. Everybody have a happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year.
Same
It's
to
been
you,
a great
Jordan.
year. Yeah, great year. Thanks, guys. Thank you all being here.
Goodbye to 2025.
Yes. I'll be happy to say goodbye to 2027. Thank you very much.